Hi, everyone, and welcome to Cannesversations. I'm Stephanie Beach, and I'm here with Sarah today. Sarah, thank you for being here.
For having me.
Can you give a brief intro for yourself, please?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sarah Acker. I run global marketing for Human Security. Basically, what Human does is ensure trust along the entire customer journey. So lots of folks in the media space know us for ad fraud, but we do a lot more than that. And so I'm excited to be here today to talk about it.
I'm excited too, and thank you for being here. So we have some industry questions that I'd like to get your opinion on, and then we have some really fun rapid fire questions.
Okay. Love it.
I know we're at day 3, so how's the conference treating you so far?
Pretty good. I'm definitely tired, but we have a dinner tonight, so I got to make it through to the home stretch. But yeah, definitely always great to be in New York and see everybody. And you know, this is my favorite part of the industry is the community. So
I agree, and I feel like at the end of Ad Week, everybody goes home and just crashes.
Yeah,
you know?
I booked a little PTO in the end, so
nice.
I won't go home to crash, but I will crash. Yeah.
Nice. Well, let's dive into it. Retail media is a big thing right now. Everybody has a network. Everybody's utilizing their data. Data is huge, which also comes with privacy concerns. Yep. So how do you feel retail media is changing the ways customers shop? And what's the key to making it successful as part of your media plan?
I think from where we sit with retail media, obviously there's tremendous value in the first party data and the knowledge and understanding that the retailers have of those customers. I think one of the things that we always want to make sure is that you know that those customers are actual humans. And so that's where making sure that protecting, you know, the retail media networks, making sure that that data is secure and that we understand the human element to build that additional level of trust and security in the ecosystem. So that's what we're really excited about, the evolution of retail and commerce media networks, and making sure that, you know, as we're building those out, we're building with like a security first framework and making sure that they're protected and that we know that those impressions are actual humans. And so that just helps us ensure that there is that level of, you know, trust and authenticity. That people are
and that's so important. I mean, you know, and we will get to authenticity in just a minute, but I think that not only being able to, you know, utilize the data, but then to protect the data and ensure that it is real, it is human,
yes.
You know, is so important and something that our industry, I feel like, will always be working on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because as the technology changes and as new things roll out, there's going to be new needs.
Yeah. And I mean, what we always say is, you know, the bad actors follow the money. And so if the industry is excited about something and there's investment moving that way, that, you know, the bad guys are keeping their eyes open there too. And that's why you want to make sure, the fraud follows the spend, and we need to make sure that the security and the protection follows it as well. And so that's where I think we've learned a lot as an industry as we've built all of these new channels and, you know, new technologies that many times in the past we didn't necessarily build security first. And so I think we're getting a lot better as an industry of making sure that we're keeping that top of mind from the jump, you know?
Yeah, it is. It's really so important. So moving on to AI, which is a big topic, I think, you know, half the panels at the conference this week were all about AI, but I'm taking a little bit of a different approach with this. So how can we use AI to connect with people on a more deeper level and really on a more human level, even though it's technology?
Yeah. So we're so excited about the kind of agentic commerce revolution right now because essentially we built our business as a bot company, right? We ultimately at the beginning, we were making the decision, like, is this a bot or a human that's viewing this ad? As our business has evolved, now we're in the era of agentic commerce, right? Agents, if I say Perplexity, go buy me the black shoes as soon as they're $99 or whatever, like those are bots,
right?
They're acting on behalf of an actual human. I have empowered that bot to spend my money and I have given it a task. So we need to make sure that brands are ready to take that revenue from it. So once upon a time, it was binary, right? Bots are bad. Bots should not be shopping. So if you see a bot trying to check out, you block it. As we go into the holiday season, making sure that like you are building your agentic commerce posture in a way that allows you're not missing out on that revenue because as humans, we're starting to use ChatGPT as a thought partner, as a shopping partner.
Yeah. Or even as like an assistant.
Yes, 100%. You want to make sure that that's not a negative brand experience or that you don't reach out because or you don't miss out on the opportunity. I think a lot of times, and especially like I work for a security company, but I'm a marketer. So I'm still thinking about how my ads are going to reach, all of the things that all of the brands are thinking about. I think there's a really exciting opportunity to make sure that you are like in a world where there is an understanding of, okay, I want these shoes from this brand, making sure that if you are a retailer, you are able to capture that intent without by allowing that agentic commerce to transact and transact safely.
Yeah. Which also, you know, we brought up a little bit about authenticity earlier, and it brings me to my next topic is authenticity. Like, it's an overused word, and especially with AI and, you know, multicultural communities and everybody trying to reach and touch everybody and be a part of everything. You know, what do you think it really means to be authentic and when marketing to diverse audiences, and how do brands avoid looking like they're just jumping on the bandwagon?
That's a great question. I think it's something, you know, I guess I can only really speak for myself in the way that I approach this as a marketer. When you think about who you are trying to speak to and what matters to them, we always come back to like, are we adding value to that audience? Like, what is it? So I think sometimes as marketers, you fall back into like a playbook, or these are the things we do and you have to check these boxes. And like, we try to reset all the time, and it's okay. Yes, I understand that these tools, these tactics, these channels might be part of the mix, and you know they work. You have some level of experience and success with that in the past. But like, how are you making sure that that is adding authentic value to the audience that you're trying to reach, and value to them as humans, as individuals? And it's not just this one size fits all blanket, you know, approach. Whether that is leveraging your data, whether that is leveraging, you know, for us, it's very much, you know, partner driven when it comes to, you know, reaching our audiences, but making sure that you're not, following on the trends, because
being true to yourself.
Yeah. And I think that it's one of those things like nobody can call themselves cool. Like, you know, it's like you can't call yourself authentic. You're either are or you aren't. Like, and so I think, and people are smart. And we have like, built-in like BS filters these days. You know what I mean? We have so many ads. We have so many people saying things,
especially being in the industry when we're seeing it, you know, like we kind of are a little bit more attuned to it. Not everybody is, but at the same time, you know, people get when it's just, for lack of a better word, you know, cringy in a way.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, oh, really?
Yeah.
And then that's a turnoff.
Yeah.
And who wants that? You know what I mean?
Well, and with like the amount of ads and the amount of brands and the amount of things that we're hit with at all times and in all places, you have to, that's where you come back to that value. Like, I actually love advertising. If the advertising is cool and creative and is advertising something that I might want.
Yes.
Like, you know, it's interesting to talk to like friends and family about what we do, right? And they're like, what, you know, I work at what is ad? Like any of the things that we do, like nobody understands. But when I talk about, you know, people who turn on ad blockers and stuff, it's like, no, I love ads. I want you to know me.
Right.
I want you to serve me something that I might actually want and add value to my life. And I would like it to be beautiful or creative or interesting.
But I do
or like
the same thing.
Value to my life.
Yeah. I don't use ad blockers either. I mean, especially being in the industry too, like I want to see what the brands are putting out there.
Yeah. I look forward to the Super Bowl.
Yes,
not the game.
Exactly. I only come to watch the halftime show for the ads. But like, you know, it's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah. It is very interesting. And I don't know how people just get it wrong.
Yeah.
It's something that's so simple.
Yeah.
You know, and the ads really, like, I really just want to see the innovation and how is the targeting happening and what are these brands thinking about and how are they speaking to me, you know? And, you know, one of my pet peeves too is like, I made a purchase and you're still retargeting me. Like, I want to call them up and be like, who's your marketing agency?
Right. Well, it's so interesting, and like, not to take it back to bots, which I always do, but like we see bots they're so sophisticated these days. And so sometimes it's really hard for marketers to understand what is happening on their site and what they even can retarget, because bots are clicking, bots are filling out forms, they're buying, like, and so if a bot puts the black shoes in the cart, you might remarket to a bot. And so it just dilutes the audiences and it makes it harder for, you know, them to reach the actual authentic users and customers. It's so continually important to kind of have that level of understanding. But yeah, when we changed the name of the company to Human, from a brand perspective, it was really interesting because, you know, I think as brand marketers, we tend to be very precious with our brands. We want to be so careful. We want to make sure that like everything is perfect and no filing guidelines and you know, where there's always a level of comfort in injecting creativity or like,
right,
breaking outside of the boundaries a little bit. And that was one of the things that excited me so much about Human as a brand name, because if you think about humans, we wake up every day, we're cranky, it's raining, the Uber costs $50, or it's 72 and sunny and like I'm in New York with my friends. So we're different. We change from day to day, and like having a brand that can kind of change and move and be a bit flexible was something that was like very kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is really cute. I love that. So are you ready for some rapid fire?
Sure.
All right. So this or that, AI or humans?
Humans all day.
Short form or long form video?
Oh, long.
First party or third party data?
First.
CTV or social commerce?
Ooh, social.
Okay. Overrated or underrated? AI as a creative partner?
Underrated.
The death of the third party cookie?
Overrated.
Influencer marketing?
Oh, in its evolution, like when done right, underrated, but as a whole genre, over.
Okay. Podcasting in the marketing funnel?
I think I think especially I want to be doing it more as a team.
Yeah. Well, we could definitely talk about that too. Yeah, right? And then, I want to talk a little bit about like making the connections last. Being at these conferences, connecting with people, being authentic. It all kind of ties into what we do.
Yep.
And the industry is very heavy on relationship building and, having that trust built in. What do you do and what's your best piece of advice for navigating a conference like this?
The further you get in your career, the more you are pulled in different directions, and there's always other responsibilities or other calls that you could take or other fires that need to be put out. And like when you have the opportunities, like a week like this, take every meeting to you're going to be tired. You're going to go home and crash, but know that and go to the things, take the meetings, put yourself into the universe and the ecosystem as much as humanly possible, pun intended, because that's what's gonna those little kind of chance opportunities, like the person you chat with in the elevator, the person you chat with next when you're, ordering your glass of champagne, whatever, or just somebody that you haven't connected with since a couple years and they happen to reach out, they're in a new role. I mean, I think that's what you do have to put that effort in. You do have to prioritize it. But I think that every single time I do a lot of yoga, and my mantra, it's not an actual mantra, but it's like when in doubt, go to yoga. Even if I don't feel like it, I always am better. I'm happier when I go.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like when I go out, when I go to the event, when I go to the meeting, when I have that human to human interaction that AI will never be able to replace or change, it is always better. And I believe that's the future of business, because AI is so important and is absolutely here to stay and absolutely having a massive impact on what we all do. But the human to human connection and making sure that you just despite all else, you prioritize and you put the effort and the time in. That's how it'll make those lasting relationships.
Definitely. I love that. And it's really important and it's really nice to be able to do that. And I agree. There is so much going on. So like you said, prioritize, but take the meetings, step out of your comfort zone, talk to somebody in line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even the first day I heard check-in was a nightmare, and the line to check-in was all the way down to MSG. You're standing on line, turn around and be like, this is ridiculous. Line over it, I mean, I was happy I wasn't
there's
there.
a marketing opportunity right there. Just go, give them something on the...
Yeah, for real. So last question. How do you utilize the conference to build a personal brand?
I am a marketer. I struggle with the cobbler's shoes here a little bit, because I think going back to the nature of authenticity, I think that if you are trying too hard to be conscious of a personal brand, it can sometimes come across as inauthentic. And so, but I also do think that there's a lot of importance both from the personal brand and the my brand, to make sure that I am active on social and having a POV and doing those things that are kind of necessary. I think one of the things I'm struggling with right now is the introduction of AI into this, right? So once upon a time, you had those people online who were excellent writers and they would write these beautiful things. And you knew you could expect that type of content from them. ChatGPT has now made it very easy for everyone to write beautiful, heartfelt, interesting sounding posts. And so I think that it makes, again, we go numb to it because there's so much of it. So I think that going back to the authenticity, your network, if it is an authentic network, they know you, they know whether like me you can now tell I ramble. I'm going to talk about a lot of different things. So like, if that's the way I come across in what I post, like that's authentic. They're going to read that.
Right.
Versus if all of a sudden I start sounding like this perfectly polished, like, I think then that's when people are, oh, that's ChatGPT. I'm going to mute that. Right. And so as it just becomes, you need to figure out the way to break through the noise. And I think that comes from the authenticity of who you are as a human and as a professional, and like what value you are bringing to your audience.
Yeah, I agree. Couldn't agree with you more. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Just be yourself. And you know what? It's okay if not everybody likes you.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
If you have something interesting to say on that topic, say that.
Yes.
But don't feel like you have to comment on everything.
Yeah.
If you don't, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's where like people are, like going back again to the beginning of the conversation, like, are you adding value?
Yeah.
Are you saying it just to say it, just to be like, because, you know, say fewer, smarter things.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
yes. That makes so much sense. And a lot of people should take that advice, not for nothing. Well, Zara, this was so fun.
It was very fun.
Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for tuning in. Until next time.